Okay, hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, whoever watching this. So today, we are from group three. We're going to explain you about the job costing analysis for small business that are sent by Bukaka by this journal, and basically we're going to explain it to you by one by one for each requirement. So let's just jump into the video.
Hello, I'm Aditya, and for visit number 11 42, and now we require the one and also require the two. Yeah, we that part until we get a part into the calculator. After this, in the first requirement, there are three questions. So the first is the costing software. The cost that should be. And the cost object it should be the type of the scaling of the couple itself. But I got chocolate to got caramel and I got what I got. Why? Because we want to be variant because it's variant with the ingredient. I can or want to analyze probability of each type of the chocolate is sold. And for the last step, they may have the packaging requirement. Second question is for costing driven by prime cost or conversion cost. For costs are primarily driven by cost because A, ingredient for direct material make up significant portion of cost. And second thing is the number of stress and critical to the proper variance. So then purchase that we categorize this item. For profit, material is direct, pain or direct. But process is production. Then until it's sugar. Until the sugar from the capture into sugar that is direct material. And for the overtime, is the correctly until it's not the correct involved. Now we do that. Not what that. Now you talk about it. You need to technique with this calculate. No. And 60 say later when you material back up and probably the things you think of or sort of selection when the custom as the cancer. So these left out of the 80% that cause users are in the 7 come out. Now, and each topic that will probably problem unless it is really it's not parallel, which is one that has approximately 56%. Remember, here is a it is approximately 56%, right? From the PDF from the layout and now the software calculator. So it's either 62 by divided by now this is 5.5 something. And for the biology that is probably candidates when I do getting a lot of speak. However, to calculate the present frequency, we know it doesn't solve divided by 80%. Up. 47 divided by C for its derivative 80%. Then here goes and still so here, where you got the total amount is 562.5 and for example 5, This is how many that for give of the customer, simple, it doesn't, this is just 90% reduce 60%. But when you apply it until it doesn't get it out of the cancel in the music stuff. Because people harm and different stats, but I mean, different consequences of stats, we divided it by 5.5. However, for the rest of the scan, we divided it with 4. 4. Divided by 4, we got the formula. This only applies for the mill and mill until it starts at property one. We experiment. Not the two-part hammer, the two-part hammer is 2005. Okay, get it? Somebody, it will get happened from here. And for the next material, it will be presented by my friend. For the time, place is all yours.
My name is Ana Agomayona dari Sasmatra Nurani, and the last 3 digits of my name is 175. So here, I'm going to explain about requirement number 3. So first thing first, we need to know the objective. So the objective is using the cost information from table 2, the ingredient quantities from table 3, and the measurement conversions from table 4, calculate the cost per relevant unit for each item listed in table 2. And then determine the total cost per batch for the following. First, dark chocolate fondant. Second, milk chocolate fondant. Third, flavorings and strawberry balsamic vinegar. And the last one is sea salt caramel. So the first thing we need to do is make unit cost table. How to make it? So we need to calculate the cost per relevant unit for each item listed in table 2. We need to know which one is the table 2. Here is the table 2. So here we need to write down all of the relevant item, which is here. I've already wrote it down. There's a bulk chocolate to sugar. So we need to write down all of this, the item, the purchase quantity, the total cost, and we know it from table 2, of course. We just copy it from that. The difference is we need to add the measurement conversions. We will know the measurement conversion from the table 4, from here. Yeah, you will got it. So first, for example, the bulk chocolate, the purchase quantity is 50 pounds. The total cost is $160. There is no measurement conversions because when we calculate it, we already need the pounds. We buy it pounds and we calculate it in pounds. So no need to measurement conversions. And we got the unit cost right here. This one divided, the total cost divided by the purchase quantity, like that. Okay, how about the one that need to convert, need the measurement conversions? So for example, the premium dark chocolate, we buy it for 5 kilograms, but we need it in ounce, which is we need to convert it to ounces. So we need to check the measurement conversions, how much it is. 1 kilogram is equal to 35.27 ounces. So it means if we got 5 kilograms, we need to times it with 35.27 ounces. So we got 176.35 ounces. And for the unit cost, you need to divide the total cost by the measurement conversions, not the purchase quantity, because we want the unit cost is per ounces, like that. It is the same for all of this. Yes, it is the same. Okay, if you've done making all of this, then we can start to calculate the cost per batch. How? First, we need to identify the ingredients and the quantity per batch. How do we know that? It is from table 3, which is this is the recipe. So if you want to make a basic fondant, you will need a bulk chocolate, a premium chocolate, either dark or milk, based what would you want to make, the cream and the butter. Here is the quantity, 2 pounds, 6 ounces, and so on. So we put it in a table like this. After that, we need the total cost per batch calculation. We need to do this. There's the ingredients. We need to identify the unit cost. How? This from the unit cost table, like this, for example. The bulk chocolate, how much? Oh, search it here. it is $3.20. Same goes for premium dark chocolate for this too and this too. And if you got all of that and you know the quantity, we just need to total it. How? Here, the unit cost times the quantity, and you will got the total for the bulk chocolate that needed for making the dark chocolate fondant. And if you guys done this like this, you can see that we just need to sum it up to know the total cost of dark chocolate fondant as a whole. Yes, we know that the total cost of dark chocolate fondant is $13.69. Easy, right? How about the milk chocolate fondant? All the same, all the same. The different one is this is using dark chocolate and this using milk chocolate. So we can see that here is the total cost per batch calculation. We identify the unit cost, all of that. And then we know the quantity from the recipe. And we times it. The unit cost times the quantity. We got this, we got this, we got all of this. And then we need to sum it up. And how much is the total cost for milk chocolate fondant? Easy. We plus this, and plus this. We sum it up, and we got $13.01. That's it. Easy, right? So easy. Okay. How about the flavorings and strawberry balsamic vinegar? Because this is for a different truffle, so we need to calculate. We need also, like before, know the ingredients and quantity per batch, but the total is not the same like this. The total is mandiri for each of them. So here we know the ingredients from the recipe, from the table 3, and the flavoring is 2 teaspoons and strawberry balsamic vinegar is 3 tablespoons. We just need to calculate the total cost per batch again. Here, we know the ingredients, we know the unit cost, just identify it in the unit cost table, and you will got here. If you want to make the flavored truffles, you will need the total of this, the flavoring, this one. This times this. You got $1.60. If you want to make a strawberry balsamic truffle, you will need to calculate the strawberry balsamic vinegar, which is this times this, and you will got $2.60, like that. Simple, right? For the last is sea salt caramel. It is quite much, but the theory is still the same. How to total it. So you got the total cost for the sea salt caramel. First, you need to know the recipe, the ingredients, and the quantity per batch, and then you substitute in the total cost per batch calculation, which is we identify the unit cost for sea salt is this much, and for the corn syrup is this much, for premium vanilla is this much, for sugar, cream, and butter this much, like that. We know the quantity also. We need to substitute it all. So we need to times it. Times this, and times this. All easy. Make the Excel do the job for you, like this. If you already done the times, so you need to sum it up. All of this. You will got this. Sum it up. So how much is total cost for sea salt caramel? It's $8.95, like that. Easy, right? I think that's all from me. And for the next material will be explained by my friend. Thank you.
Hello, so my name is Nimade Kendabrian Kayuni, and my last 3-digit name is 174. And today I'm going to explain you about the job costing about the Truffle from the Journal of Accounting Education. So Truffle in Paradise job costing for a small business. So my task is to explain you about the requirement for. So let's see what are the objectives are. So first is to determine the cost to produce for 1 dozen truffles for each variety if direct labor was to be filled with by part-time employees, and use the estimated overhead charge of 12 cents dollar per direct labor hour, and the labor hour rate is $10 per hour. So the case indicates that 20% of the total production is given away as samples. How would you account for the samples of truffles? And is the cost per dozen sold is the same as the cost per dozen in promotional samples? If not, also calculate the promotional cost per dozen for each variety. Okay, so for the objective. Now we're gonna start calculating it by Excel. So I've already made my answer here, and like they said in here, the estimated overhead head charge is 12 cents per direct labor hour. So I already write that again in here. The direct labor is $10 per hour, and the overhead is 12 cents per direct labor hours. And the production sample is 20%. So first is estimating the labor per batch. So because in the journal they said that at wait, let me find it for you. Is it okay? I kind of forgot where it was, but so the seller is Tor Ramusen, and he was producing chocolate truffles, and at one time he can produce 4 batches of the regular varieties of truffles for 12 hours. So we divided that, and we got 3 hours. So he can make for one batches he can make 3 hour. It takes him for 3 hour per batch, and for the SSR or SSR is the sea salt caramel. So it's the sea salt caramel variation. It's kind of special, so it took longer to make. So for 4 batches, he needs 13 hours, and that's 3.25 hours per batch. Okay, so we already got like how much it takes to make the truffles. And next is we're gonna calculate the labor cost per batch. So as I said before, so there are actually there are 11 varieties. Actually, it already calculated in here by Rani, and we see that there are like 4 categories of the truffle. So the first one is the dark chocolate fondant, and then the milk chocolate fondant, and then this the milk, but they're using the strawberry balsamic vinegar. So it's like a special flavoring, and the last one is the sea salt caramel. So the prices are going to be different because I already explained that the ingredient for each variety based on the dark chocolate fondant, or I mean the fondant is different. And here, as you can see, and for the strawberry balsamic vinegar, and my sorry, and my job here, my task is to count how much does it cost per dozen. And after that, we have the hours per batch here, and I'm gonna here I calculate the labor cost per hour. So because they said that the direct labor cost is $10 per hour, so we just times it by 3. So it's 3 hour per batch, and we got 36 cents per hour. So the total is because we're calculating with the labor and the overhead, we got $30.36, and for the sea salt caramel, we got 32.8 and 89 cents. Okay, sorry, I got a little bit confused. Okay, so we already got the total of the labor cost per batch, and now we're gonna jump into the cost per dozen. So like we said before, that one batch. Okay, so it actually stated in this journal that Thor can make 4 dozen. I'm sorry that I didn't include the Satwania, but one batch of regular varieties of truffles is 4 dozen. And for the sea salt caramel, because it's special, so they're trying to be different, and it takes longer for Thor to make it. And for one batch, Thor can make 66 truffles. So because we're calculating it in dozen, so 1 dozen is 12 truffles. And I just wait, I didn't. Okay, sorry. I didn't calculate it with the formula, but in Excel, but 66 divided by 12 is 5.5 truffles. So and because it is said that the case indicates that 20% of the total production is given away as samples. So the 80% is what the actual goods that can be sold, and while the 20% is given away as samples to the customers. So we're gonna make it as like a decimal form to make it easier to calculate. And before that, we're going to continue explaining about this. I mean, actually, we can already tell that is the cost per dozen sold the same as the cost per dozen in promotional samples. Of course, that it's not going to be the same because there are fixed 20% of production, but sales are only 80%. So the cost per dozen sold includes the cost of the samples. So the 20% of the production is actually, we can say that the 20% of the production is like the promotional cost. So imagine it that if the 20% of the production cost is not truffle, but as a promotional, like when you trying to promote your product and you need to promote it at social media and you need to pay for the social media, right? But in here, because Thor stated that he doesn't promote it the travels anywhere, but rather he introduced the travels at his salon. So there are not exactly a promotional cost for the travels, but rather giving away some samples as a promotion. So so it's gonna be different. So the answer is no, because this 20% of production is calculated as the promotional cost. So, or we can say that it's like an investing to for promotion, like that. Okay. So here I have the formula. So basically, here's the table, and like I said, that there are because I don't wanna make it too much table and this Excel, but I'm just gonna make it simple, so it's easier to see for you guys. So basically, there are 4 different varieties based on the fondant. Like there are milk and dark, and then there are also like the dark but with strawberry balsamic flavoring, and the last one is the sea salt caramel one. Okay, so we already we got the 13.1 cent and 1 cent from this requirement tree that already calculated by Rani, and then the flavor cost also already calculated by Rani in here. flavoring and balsamic. This one and this one, the $1.60 for the regular one and $2.60 for the strawberry balsamic truffle. Okay, and then for the sea salt caramel, it has because it's separated and it's kind of special to make it, so they money just calculated it in different way and like a different whole new different section. So it costs this without the fondant, it costs 8.95 to make the sea salt caramel to make like the fillings. Okay, so the labor cost per batch we already calculated above right here for the regular, and this one is for the caramel. Okay, and then what we're gonna calculate in here is the total of batch cost. So we just calculate this right here, all of this to here. So this row, and also this row because this one is empty, and we just sum it up, and we got the total is 44.97 cents. And for the that's for the milk based fondant, and for the dark based fondant, it costs me it's just the same. It's just calculating like all this row and also all this row right here, and it's the same for the SS car. So we got all four different pricing because it costs different for the each varieties. So that's what the total batch cost is. So it's like the total of for making one batch of truffles. And then for the cost per dozen, this is what for the question right here, is the cost per dozen the same as the cost per dozen? So let's calculate it first. So the cost per dozen produced is calculated by here the total batch cost per dozen produced per cost. So because wait, because I just divided this, the total batch cost, divided by B20 is here. Here, because one batch is 4 dozen, so it costs per 1 dozen. So we just calculated 44.97 cents divided by 4 because that's what one batch of regular truffles is. So we got 11.24 cents, and then just the same for this. 45.65 cents divided by 4, and 46.65 cents divided by 4. And for the sea salt caramel, I divided this 55, the total batch cost is 55.53 cents, and divided by, because like we calculated before, he can produce the 66 truffles, but we make it in dozen form, so we divided by 12. We got 5.5 dozen, so the total is $10.10. Okay, that's the cost per dozen produced. But to adjust it, because we need to include the cost of these promotional samples, so I just calculated this, the total cost per dozen produced, and it's like summing with these how much the goods are sold, which is the 80% of it. So it's I just this 11.24 cents divided by 0.8. So it's for all of it, all of this cost per dozen produced. And the adjusted that we got here is it's mostly $40, but for the SS car, because they got much more truffles for one time to produce, so it's much cheaper than the other varieties. So that's it for me. So once again, that I'm gonna tekankan my answer, that the answer is no, because the promotional samples is also calculated in here, so it makes it much more expensive because we need to include the promotional sample costs. So that's it for me, and thank you for your time. So thank you for listening also.
My name is Made Aurora Anjani with last three-digit name is 165. So in here I will explain about the requirement 5 and requirement 6. But before, let's read the objective of the requirement 5 first. So using the information from prior requirements, create a pro forma segmented income statement to determine operating income by variety, and TOR is net income after deducting his personal income tax rate. So the first one, to find the income statement, we need to calculate the sales revenue, the cost of goods sold, and the gross profit with these three formula. To make it easier, we need to make a table with all of the varieties and with the information of each dozen sold. And then we will use this dozen sold to find the sales revenue and the cost of goods sold. The difference is when you want to calculate the sales revenue, you will multiply the dozen sold with the price per dozen, and you will get all of this result. Meanwhile, in the COGS, we use the dozen sold. It's by multiplying this dozen sold with the adjusted cost per dozen sold, and we get all of these results. Next, after we find the sales revenue and the cost of goods sold, we need to find the gross profit by sales revenue minus the CO gas, and we will get the gross profit, and we get all of these results. And the second step is calculating the Tor's net income. So to find the net income, we need to find the total of the gross profit multiplied by 1 minus the tax rate, because in here the tax rate is unknown or not known, so we assuming that the income tax rate is 10%. So to find this, we'll just input the total of the gross profit multiplied by 1 minus 10%, which is 0.9, and we get this result. Next, the requirement 6, we'll write the objective first. So the objective is analyze the tor's profitability per dozen for each variety. Provide both the gross margin per dozen and the gross margin percentage per dozen. In considering your results, what prices would you advise Tor to charge? Would you make any recommendation to alter his current sales mix? Okay. The first step is we need to calculate the gross margin per dozen and the gross margin percentage per dozen with this formula. So yeah, again, with all of the varieties, we need price per dozen to calculate to find the gross margin per dozen. So the formula is the price per dozen, which is same for all the varieties, minus the adjusted cost per dozen sold. And we get all of this result. After we got the gross margin per dozen, we can calculate the gross margin percentage per dozen. We just calculate by using the gross margin per dozen divided by the price per dozen. So the simple is, yeah, we just divide the gross margin per dozen with this, and to make it percentage, we set the numbering so to become a percentage here. Yeah, and we got all of this percentage. And so based on the gross margin and gross margin percentage, we can see that in the first one, in the sea salt caramel, which has the percentage of 31%, it means that the sea salt caramel has the highest gross margin percentage and should be maintained or further promoted to maximize the profitability. And the second one in the dark base and milk base variety, which has the standard percentage between 20% until 24%. It means that the dark base and milk base variety have a stable margins around 22 until 24, which are acceptable for continued production without adjusting any price of it. And the last one in the dark strawberry balsamic, which has the percentage of 21%. It means it has the lowest margin percentage, so its price need to be increased and should become seasonal or whether it's limited production. And the sales mix I would recommend, the first one is focus marketing efforts on the high margin variety, which is the sea salt caramel, because it has the 31%. And the second one, which the company should maintain production levels for the standard margin, which is the dark base and the milk base, to provide more goods. And the last one is to review the production and pricing on the low margin variety, which is the dark and strawberry balsam mix that has 21%. To improve profitability, either through the company can increase the price of this product or maybe make the dark and strawberry balsamic into seasonal or maybe limited edition product. That's all by me. The next material will be explained by my friend. Thank you.
Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Made Bagusara Kusmawijaya. My last three-digit number is 180. So now I will explain about the requirement 7 that asks about the sensitivity analysis. So the first things that we need to know is the production cost is there is old wage $10. We arrange to new wages $12, and the overhead is still remain the same $0.12, and labor time per batch it is 3 hour per batch, and production cost is 0.8 because 20% of production will be a sample, and then the output per batch is 4 dozen per batch. And for the sea salt caramel 5.5 per batch. So first of all, we do adjustment labor cost per batch. So for regular, there is a hour per batch, 3 hour. Labor cost per hour would be 36. This is adjustment because 12 times 3. And then overhead hour per hour will be 0.36, and the total is $36.36. For sea salt caramel, 3.25 hours per batch, with labor cost per hour $39, with overhead per hour 0.39. So the total for sea salt caramel would be $39.39. And then we do adjustment for calculating chocolate cost per batch, because in the requirement 7, Thor want to make it change bulk chocolate into the full of premium chocolate. So original recipe of that is 2 LB bulk chocolate plus 6 OZ premium chocolate. So it will be 38 ounce of chocolate per batch. So because we know using all of premium chocolate, for dark variant 38 OZ times 0.65, because that is the price of the premium chocolate. So dark variant will be 24.70, and for milk variant 38 times 0.539, so will be $20.48. So we do calculation for fondant. For dark chocolate, there is premium dark chocolate 24.7, and we add the cream at the butter and the butter. So the total cost of dark chocolate fondant calculation is $28.08. And for milk chocolate fondant, we do calculation and we got 23.86. So now we adjusting the production calculation for per dozen of every variant of the Truffle. So for milk-based fondant, the fondant using dark chocolate, so would be 28.08, and the flavor cost is remain the same, and we adjust the labor cost, so we got 66.04 total batch cost of milk-based fondant. Then dark-based fondant is using milk chocolate types, so it will be 23.86 from what we calculated before, and flavor cost is remain the same, labor cost is 36, we do adjustment for it, and we got $61.82. And dark strawberry balsamic using dark chocolate types, so fondant cost is 28.80, with flavor cost is $2.6. So the total batch cost of dark and strawberry balsamic will be 67.04. Sea salt caramel using dark chocolate types with fondant cost is $28.08. And because it's sea salt caramel, we calculate the caramel cost itself. It will be 8.65 dollars, sorry. And the labor cost will be $39.39, sorry. So the total batch cost is 76.42. And we calculate the cost per dozen produce. Where they got this point, so we will divide it by the cost per dozen. So per batch is 4 dozen, so we divide it by 4, so we got 60.51. This is the same as the all of the varieties. Instead of sea salt, the sea salt is total batch cost is 76.42, but we divided 5.5 because the production per dozen will be 5.5 per batch, so we times it by 5.5 and we got 13.89. So in the right side we see there's the adjusted cost per dozen sold. So as you know that 20% of the production will be as a sample to promotion, so we times it by 0.8, this one 0.8, and this one. So for milk-based fondant, adjusted cost per dozen sold, this is the real cost after adjusting of the sample. We deduct it by the sample, so this is the real cost of production. So $24.64 for milk-based fondant. Dark-based fondant is $19.32, and the dark strawberry balsamic will be $20.95, and the sea salt caramel will be $17.37. Is this all is the same calculation, we divide it by 0.8. Okay, so now we move on to profitability analysis. So the price is remain the same, but we have problem of the cost because it's a lot of cost because of increase in labor cost and premium chocolate. We use it full of premium chocolate instead of using bulk chocolate, so it makes the gross margin per dozen is mostly all of the variety getting loss minus. So only sea salt caramel that's still on profitable, but it's not a good margin because it's only $1. For percentage is only 6%, is not good enough. So we move on directly to analyzing new gross profit. So we can see milk and milk varieties with dozen sold 48, we still remain the same of the sold and the price. So we do the adjustment of the price of the cost, I mean. Okay, so the sales revenue will be the same, 888, with the cost of goods sold is increased 990.6. So we got the gross profit of varieties milk and milk 102.6 minus. But yeah, let's jump into the all of total of calculation of gross profit. So the sales revenue is $8,325, with cost of goods sold 8,748.50. So, because of gross profit is sales revenue deducted by the cost of goods sold, it makes the gross profit is loss, suffering loss by $423.50. So it's bad things of the Tor business because this is not profitable anymore. So I will tell about the implication and recommendation of the business of Tor. Okay, so the implication is under the new cost structure, Tor suffering loss because of increasing his labor cost and change all the ingredients to premium chocolate. So instead of using bulk plus premium chocolate, they use all of premium chocolate and makes the cost is too high and make it not profitable. And the B, only sea salt caramel is still profitable even though the margin of the sea salt was falling down. It's really so much falling down. And then C, overall business can even gain a profit in this scenario. So it's the bad decision if this is happen. So I will give a recommendation of the Tor business travel. So point one, I recommend to maintain the current level of wages is still remain the same as before, as the current wages is $10 per hour. And the B and the point two, I'm sorry, avoid switching the ingredients with full of premium chocolate because it's too pricey, too expensive with the current selling prices. And last but not least, if you consider to still implement what you want, I will suggest you to increase your selling price to maintain your margin and make your business profitable again. Okay, next, I will explain about the requirement 8 with executive memo to Tor Rasmussen. So, we are from group 3. We make it at 8 May 2025. Subject is analyzing of pricing, sales mix, labor rate, and recommendation. Dear Tor, I have conducted your current structure of your chocolate travel business. I analyzed the production cost per dozen, your current product mix, and pricing strategy under your existing operation and the proposed change involving an increase in the labor rate and full replacement of bulk chocolate with premium chocolate. The key finding of it is the pricing issue. Your current selling price is 18.50 is below your cost, which is represent your business can cover your cost and your business suffering a loss. If you set to increase the wages to $12 per hour and switch your all ingredient premium chocolate, it's a bad idea. Okay, sea salt caramel is the most profitable product that still has profit margin while other varieties suffering loss. And the labor impact, raising wages to $12, turning all variety unprofitable at current prices. And the ingredient cost, what we got is using full of premium chocolate has a significant drop in profit margin compared to your current model, while sea salt caramel remains profitable. The dark chocolate varieties becomes much less profitable and strawberry balsamic becomes a loss generating item. And the sales mix 20% of production is given as sample, and that is make the we Tor eliminate the potential profit of 20%. So we recommend, based on the finding, I recommend you to point A is about labor rate. Consider postpone the increase to 12 hour unless justified by production efficiency or employee retention. It significantly reduces overall margin. And point 2, chocolate strategy or avoid switching all product to full premium chocolate. and continue using a mix of bulk and premium chocolate for standard dark or milk varieties. And for point 3 is pricing strategy. So you maintain the current 18.5 dollar per dozen pricing, but if you consider to change the cost structure, I suggest to increase your current selling price to around 21 to 22 in order to generate profit and increase margin. And the sales focus, reevaluate or reprice strawberry masamic because it has the lowest margin of your business, and you can emphasize sea salt caramel and milk travel in the marketing because it's more profitable and higher margin. So, and also I prefer to reduce a sample to 15% of the production and use them strategically. You can give it from a new client only maybe. And so the conclusion of it is raising wages to 12 hour and replacing all bulk chocolate with premium chocolate made his business lose profit. Instead, Thor should keep the $10 wages per hour and stick to a mix of bulk and premium chocolate. Okay, so that's all for my explanation and presentation. Thank you.